Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie here on the 10th of September 2024 with the Astro Weather for the week going from today the 10th until the 16th. So hope you have grounded into the Virgo energy, although Virgo, of course, is very busy. It's very active. It's a mutable sign. It likes to bring order into chaos. It is critical. It finds issues. It can analyze and from that place also help bring things back into alignment. Alignment is very important, of course, in astrology and also in Virgo, especially the last 10 days and 10 degrees of Virgo, which we're coming into starting on the 12th and going till the 22nd. So that is, and 22nd being, of course, the fall equinox when the sun enters Libra. So that last decanate of Virgo has a Virgo undertone. The motto I like to give to that, and maybe you're born in those days or you have planets, sun, moon, ascendant, midheaven, nodes in late Virgo. So all of that is about being in alignment with your cosmic assignment. And that's also where Pisces comes in. Pisces with the full moon that we're building up to, that full moon will be another second of 4 supermoons, and it will be also the harvest moon, the full moon closest to fall equinox on the 16th of September, and it will be also partial lunar eclipse. So a pretty exact, Virgo likes exactitude, as we know, pretty exact full moon. And this is where the energy really builds up to this week. So I wanted to show you that full moon first and then pull it back to the energies of the week building up to the full moon. So here is the chart of the harvest moon, of the partial lunar eclipse. As you see, not only is the moon in Pisces, of course, as a full moon, it also is very close to Neptune and is a sort of sandwiched between Saturn and Neptune. We can see actually, if skies are clear, we can see the night before the new moon, before the full moon, we can see the alignment of the Sun and Saturn. Neptune, of course, is not visible with the naked eye, but from 15th to 16th, or actually I should say from 16th to 17th, we could probably see the moon almost full, and Saturn, if the moon is not bright, not too bright, then we can see Saturn next to the moon. So this is not just a full moon from the lunar perspective, but also the moon drawing together, bringing together Saturn and Neptune, which will actually align, which will actually be in conjunction in 2025, 2026. And when they are in conjunction, there will be barely over to Aries. So this eclipse is basically also showing us the transition from Saturn, Neptune into Aries, which is a big deal. Another indicator that we are moving into a whole new era. Neptune has been in its own sign, Pisces, since 2012. So that's the dimension that we're talking about. And also it's super rare for Saturn and Neptune to come together only every 36, 37 years. So they really mark the end, they mark what Saturn likes to do, ending, closures, junctures, there's a threshold, right? And with Neptune also the outflow. I remember personally coming from Germany, there was a very powerful alignment of Neptune, Saturn, and it came together with Uranus even in 1989 when the wall came down. This was huge. They were all in Capricorn, and the wall was actually built in August 1961 when Saturn and Jupiter were in Capricorn. So it was also almost a Saturn cycle for the wall, and quite a indicator for a bigger trend than just this wall, or so to say, just the end of the division of Germany. So it's the whole unraveling of the Eastern Bloc started at that time. And it brought huge societal changes, as we know. And it was also actually, by the way, 1918 with the Russian Revolution was, I believe, Neptune and Saturn were, Neptune and Uranus were conjunct. I have to verify that. But it also tied into 1918 Russian Revolution. So there's a lot to what's to come, and we already feel it. It's on the horizon. There is a whole new era is actually in the making, as we also see with Pluto now almost fully in Aquarius, briefly back in Capricorn. I say a few words about that too. Another signature at this point in late summer to mid-fall, Pluto back in Capricorn. But otherwise, it will go into Aquarius fully on November 19th, also setting the tone for a whole new era. Now, what's with that full moon? So it is a partial lunar eclipse. It's almost a total lunar eclipse. Why? How can we see whether it's an eclipse, right? For an eclipse, the sun and the moon, for a lunar eclipse, the sun and the moon have to be super close to the nodes. So you see the north node here is not far from the moon, right? So north node still in Aries, goes back to Pisces end of January, but it is the moon is close enough to the node to create an eclipse, a partial one in this case. And the sun, of course, also close to the south node in this case. The sun back in Virgo, but the south node over here in Libra. So as you see, this whole vernal and autumn equinox is being accentuated. Pisces to Aries, spring equinox, and Virgo to Libra, fall equinox. So it is a lot about balance. It's also a lot about choices with Libra. It's a lot about war and peace regarding Aries and Libra. So all of this is up in the air in the socio-political, geopolitical, and world scene, and also for us individually, of course, right? So making choices that are in alignment with us and with our health and wellness from the Virgo Libra side, and with what's in integrity for us, right? Integrity being also Virgo. And then also allowing things to flow out, to be released, especially old phenomena of the Pisces age. And I keep referring also with clients to that whole dynamic that the Pisces age has been quite a signature of the Pisces age, where we personally feel it when we are in a constellation of victims, perpetrators, saviors. Where are we positioned there, right? And all that suffering that is being perpetuated through that. So we need to come to a closure of that. So much suffering, so much codependency, so much chaos, right? Coming out of that, and boldly from the Aries side, entering a whole new approach to life, a whole new approach to so many things. And the Pisces Aries point is the emergence point, so something new emerges. But also we are being present, being fully present to what's here now, not going back, not rehashing, not getting pulled and back into a dream, into a fantasy, into a what if and all that, right? But actually stepping forward. That's very Aries. So that is being strongly accentuated with that full moon, and I'll talk more about it next week, and of course write about it in the blog article. But what I want to point out here also is that the eclipse is also in T-square, 2 squares here, right? Pointing to Mars early in Cancer. So in fact, the T-square is exact with the nodal axis, right? So the north node here in early Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars, in square with Mars, and the south node together with Lilith in Libra, also in square, exact square with Mars. So Mars is the outlet of that T-square. This is where the action happens. And a square, a T-square itself has also a Martian undertone and energy to it. So what's going on? So some action needs to be taken with Mars, right? However, Mars in Cancer, freshly in Cancer since the 4th of September, the Cancer energy is not so conducive for Mars because Cancer is very rhythmic and very goes in cyclical. That's the word I was looking for. Cyclical and rhythmic, and it likes to go with the flow also, and especially with the flow of feelings and moods even. So our energy individually and with each other, of course, it can depend a lot on how we feel, and that can fluctuate with Mars in Cancer. So the energy is not very consistent as in Capricorn, directed as in Aries. There is a lot of feeling, a lot of emotions are moving around, and you can see that especially in countries like the US before the elections, Cancer country, also Canada, Cancer country, but everywhere, right? So also important to be kind, to be sensitive, to be compassionate with people's emotions, and not to act out our emotions, maybe especially repressed ones, internalized ones, especially anger on other people. Things can flare up even more and escalate, and but we can also do something with it, right? So what can we do with Mars in Cancer? Cancer is about the home, the family, right? So rather than having a warfare and conflict in the family, yes, being aware of what we need and how we feel, and let others know maybe for the first time, or even more clearly acting on those, right? But not in an aggressive way. However, we can also do something about our home, right? Feathering our nest, doing something about making our home a sweeter place, a more welcoming place, working physically in the home, on the home, especially now in the autumn season that's coming in. And Mars will be for a long time in Cancer, since September 4th until November 3rd, just before the US elections. And then it goes into Leo, but from Leo we'll go retrograde on December 6th, and retrograde until, I have to keep lots of dates here, we'll go retrograde on December 6th, we'll re-enter Cancer on January 7th, and retrograde until February 23rd, all in Cancer. Then go forward again from February 23rd on, and will still be in Cancer until, and fully go through Cancer this time, until April 18th. So that's a long time, right? That's I think it's more than 5 months altogether. And so getting used to this energy right now that is sensitive, can be easily triggered, but at the same time, it steers us up to actually take care of our needs and maybe also of needs of others, right? So it's also compassionate energy. It's like, hey, this person needs something. Let me do something about this, right? So yeah, and also approaching family, approaching people who feel safe and you feel connected with them, you're on the same wavelength. So all of that would be beautiful, and literally also going on a journey, going on a journey, homebound in a way, but at the same time unbound, because Mars is also is actually an individualistic planet, and it cuts the umbilical cord, so it doesn't create dependencies. But at the same time, we want to, go home, whatever that means to you, and and maybe approach places that feel like home, and also find your tribe. All of that is very Cancer. So what else is going on? Mercury also entered Virgo recently, now fully. So that was September 8th until September 26th. Now Mercury is out of Leo, where it has been a retrograde. Most of the retrograde phase has been in Leo. Now it goes fully through Virgo, and that can ground our energy. We can be more easily rational, practical, organized. The Leo energy again was not super conducive for Mercury. That creates hot heads, is a saying in Germany, Hitzkopf. So the energy goes a lot into the head and is very self-absorbed. In other words, right? That could have come up with Mercury in Leo, but at the same time, with retro, a good reminder to come to self-love, come also to the place where we serve, where we help from love and not from self being, needing to be seen, needing to be important, all of that Leo stuff, and noticing our hang-ups in that regard and what the mind has to do with it. Now Mercury is in Virgo, and so that is a great time, also especially after the new moon in Virgo, to do organizational stuff. That's what I'm gonna do in the next few days. And have already done. And also it is very rewarding to help people in a practical way. Yeah, I had a few of those episodes. It was really cool, and we mixed work and help with fun and connection, work party style, right? All of that is apropos Mercury in Virgo. And then the Sun in Virgo this week, so in 2 days on the 12th, the Sun will square Jupiter in Gemini, both ruled by Mercury again. Virgo and Gemini are. And that it's a very mutable energy. There's so much going on in what that keeps us busy, basically work-wise, practically Virgo-wise, but also mentally, right? There's so much information out there now, right? And yet it's a conflict with what we need to do, right? So also, oh my gosh, I'm so interested in all these things. Now I don't have time to do my stuff. That could be one expression of that. At the same time, it's also about learning, right? Jupiter in Gemini shows us there's so much to learn, and so much to practice from the Virgo side, right? Taking things as a practice, also a spiritual practice, a practice for our personal growth, right, with Virgo, and learning experiences. And that can give us a different perspective on things. Then Venus in Libra now will on September 16th, the day before the supermoon, Venus in Libra will oppose Chiron in Aries. So I didn't even put that opposition into the chart yet, but you can see it here, right? Venus in Libra, end of Libra, in opposition with Chiron in Aries. And that is another full moon-like polarity. So all oppositions in the chart and in the transits have a full moon energy. There's in a way, they say a tug of war. There's two polarities here, aiming to be reconciled, right? So they can pull apart, they can alienate from each other, they can be in different worlds, in two different worlds, or they want to come together. Actually, it's a marriage of opposites would be the ideal of an opposition. And we have here Venus in her own sign of Libra, which is all about harmony, elegance, peace, and aesthetics also, right? And choices, wise choices. Venus, end of Libra, coming to the tipping point into Scorpio, which happens for Venus on the 22nd, the day of the fall equinox. So Venus is in this last part of Libra, where choices are coming up, and Chiron is at the end of Aries, even together with Aries, E-R-I-S. So Aries being an asteroid that's been in Aries, the sign, for since the early 1920s, for 100 years, and so for a really long time in Aries. And so Aries is the energy of Aries, the archetype of Aries is a seeding discord. So this is also a lot about this division and discord and war, right? So many wars in the 20th century up to literally now, and Chiron with it every 50 years, showing the wounds of war and what needs healing here, right? Where does also the discord start? Start is always the Aries question. Where did it start? How can we go back to the origin and heal the origin of discord, of division? And with Aries, the asteroid, she was in mythology not invited to the wedding, which is very apropos Libra, right? So not invited to the table, being excluded, and that her revenge was to see discord, basically, right? She was she was annoyed. Let's put it that way, right? And that started the Trojan War. So where can we be more inclusive, in other words, but in an authentic way, in a real way, not in a fake way, right? That could be a question for that Aries side. And also, where are, from the current wars, where are people not included? And people not included in, different countries have different status and different privileges, right? And so there is a lot of inequality, of access to resources, still a lot of exploitation and all that, and not invited really to the club, right? Lots of people aren't, right? So that is quite a factor, and among many, right? So a lot can be discussed about this Aries in Aries, and it will come up again actually with a full moon that on October 17th, that comes with Chiron and Aries. It's always conjunct Aries. I have to actually mark that on a chart there of October 17th, when even more about this comes to fruition and will be seen and needs to be dealt with, right? So yeah, that October 17th will be quite the full moon, because it will be also in square with Mars again. Okay, so now it's the time with that this week to building up to the full moon, harvest moon. So again, being in our integrity, making good choices, but also being bold, right? Stepping into the new, letting go of the old dynamics that don't serve us and don't serve the world, don't serve anybody anymore. Now let's look at the moon this week. We have the moon in Sag now. Hope you had a good Phoenix experience yesterday when the moon moved over the Phoenix point from Scorpio to Sag. More freedom, more understanding, more perspective after being more in the midst of it all with the moon in Scorpio, so to say, in the depth of it all, in the darkness maybe. And moon in Sag now, today, all day 10th, tomorrow until 7:38 p.m. in Sag, then going into Capricorn. The Sag energy, yes, as a half moon in square with the sun in Virgo, can create a lot of movement, a lot of action again, lots of comings and goings. It's what will be also my afternoon here today, but all good, being in the flow, says Pisces, and not getting stressed out, not getting worried, not getting all, anxious on a Virgo side, staying happy. Virgo, Sagittarius likes happiness and freedom, right? So let's feed ourselves with that. And then the moon goes into Capricorn from tomorrow, the 11th, September 11th, yes, in the evening, all day Thursday, all day Friday, the 13th. I'll say a little bit about that too. And until just after midnight, 1 hour after midnight on the 14th. So that Capricorn moon and the Virgo sun is a very grounded energy that brings us back to common sense, to reason, to experience, to getting things done. And so, yeah, it can feel a bit weighty and heavy too, but especially as it approaches Pluto just before entering Aquarius, of course, right? The night from the 13th to the 14th. But Pluto now in Capricorn, since September 1st, is at the tail end of Capricorn, the very last degree, 2 degrees only, or not, or even 1. Okay, so let me double check again where Pluto goes direct, which degree in Capricorn. So that will be literally 2939. So it only goes like literally 21 seconds, not even a degree, back into Capricorn. And really the tail end of the Capricorn goat and wrapping up this old business with the old empire. So basically shadow energy comes up again of Capricorn, which has to do a lot with exploitation, abuse, and how we treat our elders, right? How we treat planet Earth, how we treat ourselves, and how we actually rather extract and exploit resources, really bring out our best, especially with Pluto retrograde, right? And then contribute that to the change that's in the making. And then the moon goes into Aquarius, where there's more freedom again and more forward momentum into the new and modern, but it also requires community, right? The moon always shows us our needs. So you could literally say when the moon is in Aquarius, we need community, we need friends, we need allies, we need to come together with others and share. And the moon goes into Pisces, where she will be full as a supermoon on Monday, already into Pisces from 2:39 a.m. on, and the supermoon will be on Tuesday the 17th at 7:34 p.m. So right in the evening Pacific Daylight Savings Time. And so when the moon then moves into Pisces, goes into over the resonance point, I call it a coherence point. So it is about really finding energy, finding either activities, let's say you're doing some sacred, you're doing some practice like yoga, you're going for a walk, where you're in the flow, right? Where you are free and flowing, or you are with people whom you can be in a groove with, whom you can freely share, and there's a resonance, right? That will be Aquarius Pisces energy. And yeah, and I want to say a few words about Friday the 13th also. Friday 13th has this doom, or not, yeah, doom association, but also it's like it's a bad luck day, basically, right? It's a cursed day, or it's like all of that is coming up with Friday the 13th. But actually, Friday the 13th is a sacred day to the goddess, because it relates to the 13 moons, related to the lunar cycle, related to the menstrual cycle, 13 moons per year, 13 new moons or full moons. So one or the other, but 13 cycles of lunar cycles happen in a solar year. And Friday is the day dedicated to Freya, to Venus. So we have a Venus moon day. Let's celebrate Venus. Let's celebrate the moon on Friday the 13th. And let's change that paradigm with with the moon in Capricorn approaching Pluto overnight from Friday to Saturday. So I wrote a specific article for Friday the 13th. You can find it on my blog. And as well as, of course, Mars now in Cancer, Mercury now in Virgo, and one for the supermoon, of course, to come. I post a link here below in the notes, and I wish you well, wish you a beautiful week, and see you again in real life if you come for a session or see me in community, and you can see me again here on this channel next week. Take care. Bye.